Hey guys, welcome back to the Ultimate Goosebumps Man channel, and today I am going to bring you an episode review for the book that I just recently made a review for, which was, wrong book, Monster Blood, the third book ever in the Goosebumps series. As I mentioned in my book review, it's not my favorite book, but it's not horrible either. It's very middle of the road. But today, of course, as I mentioned, I'm going to be doing the review for the Monster Blood TV episode. Now, this episode premiered in 1996. It was in season 2, and it's just a fun time. As I mentioned in my book review, I prefer it to the book. I think that it's a very fun way to adapt the book. I think they did a really good job with it. I think they improved on a lot of the faults the book had. You know, having the Monster Blood be tied to Catherine more, and it was tied to Catherine in the book, but it was done very poorly in my opinion. Like, you know, why is the Monster Blood in a toy store instead of in the house like it's in the episode? The plot is very similar to the book, except in the episode the Monster Blood is like a mason jar, and it's in a locked forbidden room in Aunt Catherine's house, which I just think makes more sense, making it connected to her and kind of factoring into the twist at the end. I just think it's overall a better thought out idea and a way to improve the book. As I said, I think the kid playing Evan is really great. He's actually, fun fact about him, he ended up playing Freeburg in Freddy vs. Jason, who is the stoner guy who ended up getting possessed by Freddy and then sliced in half by Jason. Yeah, that was Evan. Actually, you can see a picture of him right here on the DVD. I'm not sure if it's very clear, but yeah, that's him. But yeah, I think the episode's pretty fun. You know, there's some good acting in there. The kid playing Evan, I think, is good. The kid who plays Andy she's alright. She's not the best, but she's not the worst actor of the show either. There's definitely far worse actors that we've seen come up throughout the show. I like the actress playing Aunt Catherine. I thought she was really fun. You know, very eccentric. You know, she's, you know, conducting, like, pretending to conduct an orchestra when she's just listening to, like, a vinyl record, which I thought was really funny. And led to a lot of kind of entertaining moments with her. The actress who plays the main twist villain, which again, I'm not going to give away, but I will say the actress who plays her is really good as well. She hands it up to the appropriate levels that you want to see a Goosebumps villain in the TV show be. She fits that kind of silly, cheesy tone the show had and the tone this episode has. Now, I will say I'm not a huge fan of the look of the Monster Blood in the episode. It looks a little different than how I would have visualized it in the book. Because, you know, if you look at the Jacobus art, it kind of has this more, I guess, solid, darker green color to it. And this is just minor nitpicks. It's not really that big of a deal, but the way it's depicted in the cover and the way it's written in the book, it's like more of a deep green kind of color like this. While in the episode, it's more of a, like, solid, milky green almost. Kind of like, it almost has a similar texture to that oobleck stuff that you can, you know, make. It's like, you know, just cornstarch and water. It's a very similar texture to that. I don't think it's horrible, but it's not what I would have envisioned Monster Blood to be based on the book. But again, it's a minor nitpick. It's still not a big deal. I think, what else? I would say a lot of the stuff that they did adapt from the book was well done. I think, you know, it was kind of a fun thing with what happens to Trigger, which is, again, pretty much identical to what happens in the book, but they do it in a very fun way. I don't think the CG is that bad with what they do there. There's some CG involved, and a lot of the CG in this show is not very good because this was made in the 90s and a low budget. But I think what they had to work with, it was pretty solid. You know, some of the CG with the Monster Blood didn't look great, like when it's actually growing and moving and stuff, like especially near the finale. It's really bad, but yeah, I thought this episode was overall a pretty fun, enjoyable time. It's definitely one I'd recommend when you're watching through the series. It's definitely not a skip. Much like I said, the book, I'd recommend at least checking it out once and seeing what you feel about it. This episode is definitely not one you should skip. It's a fun time from beginning to end. And it's interesting because it's kind of a two-parter, but not really, because there is the sequel episode, More Monster Blood. And essentially, More Monster Blood is not what you'd expect. It's not Monster Blood 2, but it is something that was an original creation for the show that the writers came together and made. And it's essentially Monster Blood on a plane. And I'll get into more of that when I go into the episode review, which I'll probably end up doing after I read Monster Blood 2. I know it's not the exact same, but, you know, I think it would still correlate fine. Yeah, that's really all I gotta say on the episode. And not much else to say, it's just a very fun time. I'd recommend it. I think some of the cinematography can be kind of fun, even if it's, you know, again, very low budget, as all the show was. You just kind of gotta go in and accepting a cheesy time, and, you know, you're gonna have fun. You'll have fun with it. It's one I'd recommend. Very 90s episode, but a very fun one. And yeah, definitely not one you should skip if you're marathoning the show. And that's really all I gotta say. That's my thoughts on the Monster Blood TV episode. And I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I hope you all have a scary day, and I'll see you in the next one.